Welcome to Manga's Seal YouTube channel. The previous video link is on the description box or on the top right card. Volume 12. The Paladin of the Holy Kingdom. Jaldabaoth. Remedios could not help muttering under her breath. That was because he looked completely different from the previous Jaldabaoth. It made her wonder if he had changed places with another demon. However, there could not be many demons who looked like that. Indeed, that was Jaldabaoth. That was Jaldabaoth's true form. It flapped its fiery wings, and flames burned the end of its long tail. Its brawny, frightening arms were also on fire. Its wicked face bore a wrathful expression. Priests, order the angels to charge. Obeying Kalka's order, the priests commanded their summoned angels to rush in. Jaldabaoth did not strike back at the angels as they swung down with their weapons. It simply endured the blows in silence. Even though it was surrounded and pounded, it did not seem hurt in the slightest. It looked just like a horde of children trying to hit a fully armored paladin with sticks. This is my true nature. Jaldabaoth spoke in a coarse, basso profundo voice that seemed to shake the pits of their stomachs. It took a step forward, and the mass of angels pressing against it were forced back. It ignored every single attack the angels made as it slowly raised its flame-wreathed hands, and then clenched them into fists. Its fiery form resembled a red-hot volcanic bomb. Now, you foolish and bothersome insects, disappear. With a bang, the angels which should have been in front of Remedios vanished. Jaldabaoth had punched with extraordinary speed, and even Remedios' trained motion vision could not capture a single frame of its movement. Just that single hit was enough to exterminate all the angels that were forming a wall for Remedios. This was Jaldabaoth's true form. Remedios gulped as she witnessed that overwhelming power which could easily slaughter multiple angels in a single blow, and then she gripped her holy sword tighter. Her sweat gushed forth, and it seemed like it was making her clothes change color under her armor. Could she win this? No. Beard. Remedios shouted to banish her fear. While it was a thoughtless move, if she did not charge right now, she would be essentially admitting defeat to him in her heart. She gripped her holy sword tightly, and leapt forward. She used the full might of her body in a massive downward chop. Jaldabaoth did not block or dodge it. And then, it bounced off with laughable ease. The sword, made of an unknown metal that was harder than adamantite, bounced off Jaldabaoth's skin. She looked up and saw that Jaldabaoth was not looking at her. It was similar to how a human being would not care about a worm writhing around on the ground. Dealing with you empty-handed is a little troublesome. No, there is an excellent weapon here. Jaldabaoth stepped forward, paying no heed to Remedios. His massive body shoved her aside. Blah. Damn it. Remedios and the freshly summoned angels chopped at Jaldabaoth's back. However, his metallic gleaming skin remained untouched beneath their blades. They hit him with attack spells. However, all of them bounced off. This bastard's not stopping at all. What's he looking at? Remedios' face turned pale as she looked in the direction Jaldabaoth was headed. Kalka and Overlord were there. You lot, do something. Stop him. Hurry up and stop him. Remedios barked her orders at the paladins behind them. She could not think of what use they could be, but she could not let Jaldabaoth reach Kalka and Overlord. Let Kalka and Overlord pull back. He's going for the two of them. The paladins and priests closed ranks in front of the two of them, forming a wall. What a pathetically weak wall. Stop. 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 Remedios screamed as she swung her sword over and over again. However, nothing she did managed to pierce Jaldabaoth's skin. The paladins swung their swords, the priests cast their spells, but even so, they could not impede Jaldabaoth in the slightest. He walked on nonchalantly, without saying a word. The people who touched the flames coiling around him wailed and collapsed to the ground, but Jaldabaoth did not look like he intended to attack. The two of you, run. We can't stop him as we are now. Remedios shouted, her head in a state of total confusion. Jaldabaoth should have been driven off by the adventurers of the kingdom. She was in the same league as adamantite-ranked adventurers, perhaps even stronger. In that case, why could she do nothing about Jaldabaoth? There's got to be something I can do. I have to find it. I have to find something I can do to harm him. There must have been some reason for Jaldabaoth's invincibility. Just like how some monsters were highly resistant to all metals besides silver, there must be some kind of racial defensive ability protecting his body. But what kind of ability is it? Her ever-reliable instincts told her nothing. Until this point, it had always been her vice-captains Overlord or Kalka giving orders. All she had to do was carry them out. However, all three of them had nothing to say now. Frustration began to build in Remedios, but she was clear about one thing. As long as the two of them escaped, they would prevent Jaldabaoth from achieving his aims. The two of them seemed to understand that too, because they turned and ran without looking back. That was good. There was no time for people to lollygag around like idiots on a real battlefield. Even if Remedios died, so long as the Holy Queen, the head of state, survived, there would still be hope, and even if the worst-case scenario unfolded and the Holy Queen died, so long as her sister was still alive and they managed to recover her body, they could bring her back to life. Several priests, probably capable of third-tier spells, stood guard by Kalka's side, with them serving as walls that ought to be able to buy the two of them more time to flee. Greater teleportation. Suddenly, Jaldabaoth vanished, and the sword in her hand struck nothing but air. What? Remedios panicked and looked around, and then a piteous wail reached her ears. Remedios' heart lurched. The sound had come from the direction where the two of them had run. However, the wall of paladins kept her from seeing what was going on. The power of the magic items she possessed suppressed her terror, but her anxiety continued welling up. If her sister and their guards were killed, then only Kalka could stand against Jaldabaoth. She was the pinnacle of the Holy Kingdom. If she was lost, then the country would fall with her. Out of my way, Remedios shouted as she broke into a sprint. The paladins hurriedly parted their ranks for her. She was too far from Kalka. How slow her body was. Remedios had always thought her strength of arm and fleetness of foot were at the zenith of human ability, and it was a silent source of pride for her. However, this moment was the first time she learned that it was nothing but false vanity. All she needed to do was survive a single hit. However badly hurt she was, there were many priests here. There was a way, so long as she did not die. While Remedios told herself that as she ran, she saw that Jaldabaoth had taken hold of Kalka. She did not have the luxury of verifying Quirrell's safety. Jaldabaoth's massive hand was closed around Kalka's legs. Those hands were wreathed in flame. She heard something like her flesh sizzling under the heated armor, and her helmeted face seemed to have gone mad with pain as she clenched her neat rows of teeth. The despicable bastard. He's taken a hostage. Was Jaldabaoth going to make some kind of demand? Having taken a fighting stance, Remedios found herself doubting the words he said next. An excellent weapon. Ha! Remedios glanced at the holy sword she was holding. Did he want that? From the moment I first saw it, I felt that it would make an excellent weapon. He raised his arm, lifting Kalka to his line of sight. Jaldabaoth flexed his arms. It looked just like he was making practice swings. There was a crack, and Kalka whimpered in barely suppressed agony. Unable to bear the force of Jaldabaoth's overwhelming power and the weight of her own body, the joint of her knee now bent in a direction it was never intended to face. It was then that Remedios realized Jaldabaoth's meaning. He meant to use the Holy Queen, Kalka Becerres, as a weapon. What are you? She could not understand it. However, she had no choice but to understand it. All right, is it my turn now? A wicked smile appeared on that furious face, and Jaldabaoth approached her. What should she do? Remedios backed off, and the paladins behind her retreated as well. What can I do at a time like this? What should I do? Remedios looked around for help, and behind Jaldabaoth, she saw the priests protecting Kalka and Quirrell, collapsed on the ground. While the priests were motionless, her sister was still moving faintly. Perhaps she had secretly cast a spell. Quirrell's still alive. But who should I save first? I have to ask Isandro. Isandro, what should we do? Retreat. Understood. Everyone, retreat. Fall back. Fall back. What? Not fighting. And after I went to all this effort to obtain a weapon with which to crush you. Fireball. Jaldabaoth extended the hand that was not holding Kalka, and discharged a third-tier attack spell. The fireball flew over and burst, immolating the paladins within its area of effect. Protected by fire-resistant spells, the paladins barely managed to avoid being fatally wounded. However, it was simply that they had not died. Kalka squirmed and struggled desperately, but she could not escape Jaldabaoth's hold. What an annoying woman. You are a weapon now. Act like one. Jaldabaoth's body flexed slightly as he raised the arm that held Kalka. Stop. Remedios cried out in mournful agony as she realized what Jaldabaoth intended. And then, Jaldabaoth swung down, ignoring her wails. Splat. Kalka could not protect herself in time, and her face smashed viciously into the ground. After that, Jaldabaoth slowly raised his arm again, and Kalka dangled limply from his hand, having lost the will to resist him. Her helmet was open-faced. That was to raise the troops' morale with her beauty. However, that beautiful face was now a mass of fresh blood. It would seem the bridge of her nose had been crushed flat, because that part of her face was a smooth expanse now. You son of a... You idiot. Stop. One of her men, a paladin, could not stop himself from drawing his sword and charging out. She wanted to stop him, but it was too late. Jaldabaoth swung his weapon at the paladin, with a speed that did not seem like he was holding a human body. The two of them collided, and the paladin was sent flying with a thunderous crash of metal. His armor was staved in like he had been hit by a giant, showing how intense the collision with Kalka had been. Remedios' eyes could not leave Kalka's body. Humans might have softer skins than other species, but strong humans could unfold their bodies in fire, magic, and if they were still conscious, they might be able to be endurers/ without being hurt. Indeed, if they were conscious. Perhaps it had been knocked loose by the impact, because her helmet had flown off and her long hair played wildly in the wind. Her inverted face was a bloody mess, her nose smashed and her front teeth shattered, her eyes rolled up and a faint moan leaking from her throat. Her beauty, regarded as a national treasure, had vanished without a trace. Her present state was too tragic for words. What should we do, Isandro? How can we save Kalka? I don't know. What the hell are you good for, then? Doesn't that brain of yours exist for times like these? I never imagined something like this could happen. There's nothing we can do but pull back. So you want me to abandon my sister and Kalka here? What else can we do? And Remedios had nothing to say. Good grief. The sight of humans squabbling before their enemy is a fearsome sight. Well, it is about time. Playtime is over. What? Jaldabaoth slowly looked to the sky. It is about time that my army arrived at this city. I need to smash the gates and usher in a storm of slaughter and carnage. Do you think we'll let you do that? Allow me. I do not need you to allow me anything. All you need to do is accept it. Like say, the gift of a star. Jaldabaoth raised the hand that was not holding Kalka, and then, like he was searching for something, he pointed to the sky. Stop. Remedios shouted because she did not know what he was going to do. However, everyone was frozen in place, their hands tied. That was because they could not attack Jaldabaoth, who held the Holy Queen hostage. No, everyone was afraid that if they attacked him, he would block it with Kalka's body. What would they do if Kalka died from their blows? Heedless to the confusion of Remedios and the others, the star fell.